Here's something that might break your brain a little. Lisa Kudrow played Phoebe Buffay on Friends for 10 seasons. But the character of Phoebe's twin sister, Ursula? She actually existed first, on a completely different show, 2 years before Friends even premiered. In 1992, Kudrow was cast as Ursula, a ditzy waitress, on Mad About You. When Friends launched in 1994 and got scheduled right after Mad About You on Thursday nights, producers realized audiences would see the same actress with the same voice on back-to-back shows. Their solution? They made Phoebe and Ursula twins. And most Friends fans have absolutely no idea. That's just one of the wild connections hiding inside Mad About You, the beloved NBC sitcom that ran from 1992 to 1999. This show about Paul and Jamie Bookman navigating married life in New York City won 12 Emmy Awards, launched careers, and secretly linked together some of the biggest sitcoms in television history. We've got 15 weird facts to get through. And trust me, they only get stranger from here. If you're enjoying content like this, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. Let's get into it. Fact 15. The theme song origin. Starting at number 15, let's talk about that theme song. You know the one. Final Frontier. Here's what most people don't know. Paul Reiser actually co-wrote it, and the whole thing came together in just 2 weeks after a completely random encounter. Reiser met legendary producer Don Was by accident at an airport just 2 weeks before the series premiered in September of 1992. They hit it off, decided to work together, and Reiser even played piano on the track. Fun fact: Final Frontier was reportedly one of the working titles for the series itself before they landed on Mad About You. The theme went through a few different singers over the years. Andrew Gold did the original. Anita Baker took over in season 6. There were also versions by Lyle Lovett and Keachia Lewis. And here's a nice touch. All of those artists ended up guest starring on the show too. Fact 14. The commercial-free episode.
Amazing.
It's unbelievable.
She's her daughter.
This one's about one of the most ambitious episodes in sitcom history. In season 6, the show aired an episode called The Conversation. It was filmed in a single uninterrupted take. No cuts, no edits, just 20 straight minutes of Paul and Jamie talking outside their baby's room. NBC was so confident in this creative gamble that they aired it without any commercials during the episode itself. Ads only ran before and after. For a network sitcom in the late 90s, that was almost unheard of. Here's a lovely detail. The episode was directed by Helen Hunt's father, Gordon Hunt, and he wasn't just a guest director. He helmed 31 episodes of the series and won a Directors Guild Award for his work. Fact 13. Ursula's wild ending number. If you're a Friends fan, you probably know Lisa Kudrow played both Phoebe Buffay and her twin sister Ursula. But here's what you might not know. Ursula's story actually wrapped up on Mad About You. And the ending? Absolutely wild.
Ursula Buffay, as you know, became governor of New York.
The series finale flash-forwarded 22 years into the future, and we learn what happened to Ursula. According to the show, she went from a successful career in adult films to becoming the governor of New York. Yes, really. That's her canonical ending. This detail barely gets discussed by Friends fans, but it's officially part of the storyline. So next time someone asks what happened to Phoebe's sister, you've got quite the answer. Fact 12. Hank Azaria invented his own character. This one involves Hank Azaria, one of the most talented voice actors in television history, and how he basically created his own role on the show through sheer persistence. Azaria started dating Helen Hunt in 1994. He would hang around the Mad About You set during his downtime, but rather than just sitting around, he pitched the producers a character he'd been developing on his own. Nat Ostertag, the dog walker. They loved it. Azaria ended up appearing in 15 episodes. That distinctive voice Nat had, based on a real person Azaria grew up with. And get this, that person later told Azaria how much he loved the character. He never realized it was based on him. Azaria and Hunt got married in 1999, the same year the show ended. They divorced 17 months later. But his contribution to the series remains one of its most memorable supporting roles. Fact 11. The casting near misses. This one reveals how different Mad About You could have looked. Helen Hunt wasn't the only actress up for Jamie Buckman. The role came down to her and Terry Hatcher. What won Hunt the part? She improvised an impression of Reiser agonizing over what to eat, a scene that ended up in the pilot. Hatcher went on to star in Lois and Clark.
Who's asking? Clark? Or Superman?
So things worked out for both of them. But here's the real surprise. Before either of them even auditioned, Bonnie Hunt was offered the role first. She turned it down. As for how Hunt and Reiser actually met, a dinner party. She was sharing a house with a friend of Reiser's wife. He turned to his wife and asked what she thought about this woman playing her in a TV show. The rest is history. Fact 10. The secret meaning of Mabel. The bookman's daughter Mabel has a name with hidden significance, and most viewers never caught it. Mabel is actually an acronym. It stands for Mothers Always Bring Extra Love. Jamie's mother, played by Carol Burnett, reveals this in the naming episode. But this wasn't just a cute detail. It was a deliberate tribute to the Dick Van Dyke Show. In that classic series, Rob and Laura Petrie explained their son Richie's middle name through the exact same kind of acronym gag. The writers were nodding to television history. Oh, and one more thing about Mabel. Her first word on the show was schmuck. That happened because cousin Ira kept trying to teach her to say truck. Classic Ira. Fact 9. The parent problem. This one highlights one of the weirdest continuity issues in sitcom history. Jamie's parents were played by 3 completely different sets of actors. Her mother was portrayed by Nancy Dussault for 1 episode, then Penny Fuller for 4 episodes, then Carol Burnett finally took over for 10. Her father went through the same kind of rotation. Paul Dooley, then John Carlin, then Carol O'Connor. But here's where the writers got creative. When neighbor Maggie's husband Hal needed to be recast, they didn't just ignore the switch like most shows would. They worked it into the story. Maggie had married 2 different men who were both named Hal, and the original Hal also happened to be her 3rd husband. That's some impressive continuity gymnastics. Fact 8. The schedule shuffle. This one sounds almost impossible. Mad About You aired on every single night of the week except Friday during its 7-season run. The show got shuffled constantly. Wednesday in 1992. Saturday in early 1993. Thursday for the golden must-see TV era from 1993 to 1995. Then Sunday. Then Tuesday. And finally Monday in late 1998. That last move to Monday? Fatal. Ratings dropped all the way down to 85th place. It made NBC's decision to pay those huge salaries look like a disaster. But we'll get to those salaries in a bit. Fact 7. The War on Awww. This might be one of my favorite behind-the-scenes details. Paul Reiser absolutely hated when the studio audience would react to tender moments with that collective aww sound. He said it shriveled his spine. He actually wanted to address the audience directly and tell them to stop. The producers talked him out of that. So he went a different route. He had the production team edit out every single aww from the audience audio track. This happened for the entire run of the series. Every tender moment, every sweet exchange. Those audience reactions were methodically removed in post-production. Reiser was committed. Here's another detail. For the first 6 episodes, the show was filmed both with and without a studio audience at the same time. They were still debating which format worked better. Fact 6. Mel Brooks' Emmy dominance.
Paulie, get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Give me a framing brain.
This is about one of comedy's greatest legends and his incredible awards run. Mel Brooks played Uncle Phil on Mad About You. He appeared in only 4 episodes across the entire series. 4 episodes. That's it. And yet, he won the Emmy for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series 3 years in a row. 1997, 1998, 1999. Most of his scenes were improvised. No surprise there. The credit stingers after his episodes showed different takes where the entire cast cracked up and broke character because they couldn't keep it together around him. One more detail about Uncle Phil. His real first name was Deuteronomy. He only revealed that after guilt-tripping Paul into naming the baby after him. Fact 5. The $1 Million Race against Oscar Knight. Now, we're getting into some serious television business drama. For Season 7, both Helen Hunt and Paul Reiser negotiated salaries of $1 million per episode. They'd been making around $250,000 before. Massive jump. Their contracts included equal pay clauses. They would always make the same amount. But here's the wild part. The timing. NBC and Columbia TriStar rushed to finalize the deal on March 23, 1998. Why that specific date? Because it was Oscar night. Helen Hunt was nominated for Best Actress for As Good as It Gets. The executives were reportedly afraid that if she won, she'd have even more leverage. So they raced to close everything before the ceremony. Hunt won the Oscar that night. She became one of only 2 people in history to win Best Actress while starring in a weekly television series. The other was Cloris Leachman. Fact 4. Jamie caused the Friends blackout. This one connects Mad About You to one of the most memorable Friends episodes ever, and most people have no clue these shows were linked. On November 3rd, 1994, NBC aired what became known as Blackout Thursday, a coordinated storyline across the entire Thursday night lineup.
The lights go out on NBC. It's Blackout Thursday.
Blackout.
It's comedy in the dark. Blackout.
In the Mad About You episode Pandora's Box, Jamie tries to steal cable and accidentally triggers a citywide power outage in New York. That same blackout was the premise for the Friends episode, The One with the Blackout. Same night, same city, same power outage. In NBC's Thursday night universe, Jamie Buckman caused it all. But here's a hidden detail that even hardcore fans miss. During the Mad About You episode, Ursula mentions having her brother's car keys. This was the first ever mention of Phoebe's brother Frank. Years before Friends explored that character. Fact 3. The 3-show shared universe.
Look, I'm kind of in a hurry. I want to get to Smiler's before it closes.
Wait, Smiler's is open 24 hours.
No, I heard a rumor.
This expands on what we just talked about. Mad About You didn't just connect to Friends. It created a shared universe, linking 3 massive 90s sitcoms, plus a classic from the 60s. Season 1, Episode 8. Michael Richards appeared as Cosmo Kramer. The episode revealed that Paul Buchman had sublet his old bachelor apartment to Kramer. That's how Kramer could afford his place on Seinfeld. Mad About You and Seinfeld? Officially connected. Through Ursula and Phoebe, Mad About You connected to Friends, and Carl Reiner reprised his character Alan Brady from The Dick Van Dyke Show, linking Mad About You all the way back to 60s television. But here's where it gets weird. This shared universe is full of paradoxes. In Seinfeld Season 7, George Costanza watches Mad About You on TV. But if Paul Buchman is real and sublet his apartment to Kramer, how can he also be a fictional character on a show George watches? There's another paradox too. Jerry Seinfeld cameoed in the Mad About You Season 7 premiere as a stranger. But in the Kramer episode, Paul already knew Jerry as the guy across the hall. The continuity is, let's call it flexible. Fact 2. Ursula existed before Friends. This one genuinely blew my mind. Lisa Kudrow played Ursula, the ditzy waitress at Riff's restaurant, on Mad About You starting in 1992. Friends didn't premiere until 1994. Kudrow's agent actually told her to pass on the role, but she needed the money. And she thought Mad About You was the best show on television. So she took the part. When Friends got scheduled at 8:30, directly after Mad About You on Thursday nights, the producers realized they had a problem. Audiences would see the same actress with the same voice on back-to-back shows. The solution? Phoebe Buffay was retroactively written as Ursula's identical twin sister. Most Friends fans have no idea the character originated on a completely different show. But it gets better. Mad About You, co-producer Jeffrey Clarick told Friends co-creator David Crane that he should consider the girl playing Ursula for the role of Phoebe. Mad About You directly led to Lisa Kudrow's career-defining role. Fact 1. The secret Grudge episode.
Paul Buckman? Huh? It's you.
Who are you talking to me?
This is easily the strangest, most hidden piece of Mad About You trivia. Steve Buscemi was an aspiring stand-up. He went to the Improv, waited for hours, and finally got called up for his first shot on stage. But right as he was about to perform, Paul Reiser walked in. The manager gave Reiser the slot instead. Buscemi told NPR that this moment led him to quit comedy entirely. He decided to pursue acting instead. Now, fast forward. Mad About You. Season 1, Episode 7. Token friend, Buscemi guest starred as Howie, an old film school classmate who blamed Paul Buchman for ruining his life. In the episode, Paul had used the last editing machine, which caused Howie to fail his project. The fictional plot perfectly mirrored the real incident from 15 years earlier. Here's the incredible part. On the last day of filming, Steve Buscemi walked up to Paul Reiser and said, "This is kinda what happened with you and me." Reiser had absolutely no idea what he was talking about. He'd forgotten the whole thing. Buscemi had carried that moment for 15 years, channeled it into an acting career, and then got to play out a version of it on television, across from the very person who'd accidentally changed the course of his life. Conclusion. And there you have it. 15 weird facts about Mad About You. This show was so much more than a sweet sitcom about married life in New York. The secret Seinfeld and Friends connections. Helen Hunt's historic salary negotiations. Mel Brooks winning 3 Emmys in just 4 episodes. Steve Buscemi's 15-year grudge becoming an actual storyline. Mad About You was hiding layers of fascinating stories beneath its warm surface. The show ran for 7 seasons and 164 episodes before ending in 1999. There was a 12-episode revival on Spectrum in 2019, with Reiser and Hunt stepping right back into their roles. Unfortunately, Spectrum Originals shut down in 2022, so any future revival seems unlikely. But the original series? It holds up. It won more acting Emmys than either Seinfeld or Friends. It launched careers. It influenced television. And it gave us some of the most genuine portrayals of marriage ever put on screen. If this video made you want to revisit the Buchmans, the show is streaming on Hulu, Disney Plus, and the Roku channel. And now, you can watch it with completely different eyes, knowing about the hidden connections, the behind-the-scenes drama. And yes, that time Steve Buscemi finally confronted the guy who accidentally sent him down a completely different career path. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe and check out our other videos on the shows you grew up loving. I'll see you in the next one.